Okay, so today is a primal day, Thursday. We're going to start off with something super tough, breathing. All right, so we're going to lay down on the ground. No roll needed today. We're going to be rolling around on the ground. So, get myself set up. There we go. All right. So let's start off today just lying down on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. All right, so we're looking for some contact with your low back on the floor. Shoulder blades will be flat on the floor, and then kind of reaching the back of your head away from you. So get that nice long spine. From there, we can just go hands on the belly. And to start off with here, we're going to take some deep breaths. All right, so in through your nose, out through your mouth. So keep those deep breaths going. What you should notice as you take your breath in, your ribs can expand, right? Your belly can expand. But what we don't want is having shoulders crunching up next to your ears. So if you find that when you take that deep breath that your shoulders rise, we want to keep those down. So instead of getting that breath into your chest and your shoulders, we want to think about drawing the breath all the way down to your belly button. If it helps, you can put your hands around the bottom of your rib cage and sort of breathe into your hands. The other thing we don't want to happen is having your back arch up as you breathe. So depending on where you're tight and what your posture is like, a breath can be sort of like a stretch. You may find that when you keep your low back on the ground, you may find that you get a stretch through your abs. You might find it actually like in your upper back. Okay, so there's all kinds of crazy stuff. When you switch postures and breathe, there's all kinds of crazy stuff that can go on. So we just want to get as close to neutral spine as possible. All right, so that means we're going to have a little bit of contact in your low back. Shoulder blades will be on the ground. And back of your head will be on the ground too. Let's finish up with 3 more breaths. Filling that rib cage, keeping shoulders down. Last breath. And good. Let's go arms behind your head or hands behind your head. All right, again, keeping that contact with your low back. Just because your arms came up doesn't mean your back should arch up off the ground. So we might have to keep a little bit of engagement with your belly, staying a little bit strong there as you bring your hands up over your head. For those of you that are younger, like around 8, this will probably be pretty easy. But for those of us who are a little bit older and maybe did a lot of push-ups yesterday, you'll find yourself with a good stretch here. All right, from here, we're going to take your elbows. So right now, your elbows are pointing straight away from each other. They're going to continue pointing straight away from each other, but you're going to take your elbow and tilt down towards your pocket on one side, and we'll tilt down towards your pocket on the other. And we'll just alternate those two. The goal here is to try to keep those forearms on the ground. So you may find that what limits you isn't the tilt of your spine, but the fact that your arm comes up off the ground. And good. Let's go on the lift hips up. We're going to roll onto one shoulder. And then when we roll onto the other side, you can add a reach here if you like. But what we do want to make sure of is as I roll to my right shoulder, my left heel is going to press into the floor. As I roll to my left shoulder, my right heel is going to press into the floor. sometimes it's easy to let one heel do the work on both sides, but we want opposite sides of your body working. So if it helps, you can almost, whatever shoulder you're on, pick up that foot. Whatever shoulder you're on. So when you roll to one shoulder, whatever side you're on, go ahead and pick up that foot just to make sure that we're pushing fully through the floor. And good. Go ahead and grab your knees. All right, we can tilt side to side, rock forward, backward a little bit. So all we're doing here, guys, and you probably picked up on this trend with these primal circuits, all we're doing is moving your spine around a little bit to start. Especially in the morning, your discs are nice and full and big and full of fluid. So we want to get those moving around, squishing around. And let's rock up, rock forward a little bit. And good. Let's go ahead and roll over onto your elbows. So we want, see if you can get the bottom of your rib cage on the ground. And then we're extending up, looking forward. That might mean you take your elbows out to the side a little bit more, right? Or you can bring them all the way up underneath you to prop yourself up as much as, as much as your elbows will allow. Looking forward, trying to get that extension in your upper back. So that's where we have more range of motion, or should have more range of motion than your upper back. So we want to almost think about your belly button should still be on the floor, but your chest should be facing forward. And let's look over one shoulder. Looking over, trying to see your feet. Alternating sides, just looking back and forth. And good, let's push back onto all fours, but your elbows are going to be on the floor and you're just sitting your hips back towards your heels. Your choice here, you can have toes curled under, or you can put your shoelaces on the ground. We're going to end up doing both, right? So wherever you want to be right now is fine. So we're just sort of sitting here nice and compact. And good. So we're going to start to put a little bit of weight on those feet, just alternating back and forth. Right. So we curl your toes under, sitting up nice and tall. If you need to keep some weight off of it for right now, or if you're not into full knee flexion, or if your knees don't go that far, then just keep it here. So we can keep hands on the floor, right? And we'll go as far as you can with it. And then eventually we're going to put as much weight as you can on it. So obviously that when your hands are off the floor, that means you're going to be putting all your weight there. Okay, so let's just alternate between toes curled under and then sitting down on those flat feet with your shoelaces down on the floor. Personally, for me, it always takes a second to get into this one, especially in the morning. And good. So our next movement is going to be from this position. Move up a little bit. So from here, you can have hands on the floor to assist, fingertips on the floor, okay, whatever you need. But we're going to go from this seated position, so this deep knee bend. We're just going to shift your hips off to the side, right? And then bring your hips or bring your knees over, and we'll end up on the other side. Okay, so I end up sorry, I end up facing away from the camera, but so we're sitting here, shift those hips off to the side. You can use your fingertips to guide you, but then you're coming up and over with your knees, and we'll pop up back on the other side, right? So the nice thing about this one is you can use your hands as much as you need to kind of guide the movement. But what we want is feeling like we're opening the hips up, okay, as we turn over. Okay, and then we are getting a little bit of twist or torsion on the shins here. So just be really aware of the pressure on your knees and that kind of stuff. All right, so as you twist off to the side, I would say start with your hands on the floor. And then once you get used to it, we can go hands-free with it. So we shift off to one side. And then if you can control it, try doing it hands-free. Just moving back and forth, walking your way through with your hands if you need to. And good, let's relax. All right, so sitting cross-legged, just leaning forward, pushing into that stretch. You might feel a stretch in your hips, you might not. Let's go ahead and switch sides or switch the cross, changing which leg is in front, settling into that stretch just a little bit. And now we're just going to take the leg that was in front and stand that leg up, right? So instead of having both legs folded in, whatever leg is in front, you're going to take that leg and stand it up, right? So now it's for some people, you'll be able to put your whole thigh on the ground and keep both butt cheeks down. But for me, I get one or the other, right? So it's either my thigh goes to the ground and I have to lift one cheek, or I get both butt bones on the ground and the thigh lifts up. So we're just looking for a little stretch here. Let's switch sides. So we lay the other side down, stand the other side up. And we are progressing somewhere with this. So just let's get working on the stretch. And switching sides again. You might notice from side to side that there's a difference. That's pretty normal. Could be a difference in the shape of your hip. Could be a difference in, how tight the muscles or tissues are on that side. But everybody's a little bit different from side to side, particularly if you play a one-sided sport like tennis, golf, hockey, baseball. Switch it again. So we should be on side 2 here. Okay. So from here, again, this is one that you can use your fingers on or your fingertips on if you need to, right? From here, we're going to come up onto this knee, right? So in slow motion, it looks like this. So we're just going to lean forward. You might have to take a little step forward with that front leg just to move it out of the way. But we shift your weight over that front leg and we come up onto your knee, right? And then we'll just go back down to the ground using your fingertips to help as needed. Switch the cross. Coming up, come up to a half kneeling position. And then we're back down. So we are working our way toward hands-free with this one. Just coming up, you'll notice it gets significantly tougher when you start to not use your hands. So it helps to take that big step forward. So the trick here is, the secret, it's all about shifting your weight and getting your weight forward over that front leg. Let's do one more on each side. And good. All right, so today we're going to do a 12-minute circuit. I'm going to demonstrate here. We'll talk about one we've already done, is that get up that we just did. So rolling over that leg, coming up to half kneeling, but we're going to stand all the way up. All right, and then you'll take that same leg back down, turn it to the side, fold under, and then we sit back down. Okay, so we'll alternate those for a minute. We've got a crawl. Right, I'm saying these in the wrong order. I'm not sure why I'm saying them in the wrong order, but we'll go through it. So crawl is just hands and toes. So we pop those knees right up off the ground, back is flat like a tabletop, and then we're just moving around in the space that you have. Okay, we'll crawl for a minute. 90-90 hip switch. So this one's a bit of a rest, right? So we just go from, sitting with your feet flat. We want to stay nice and tall. Then you're going to fold both of those legs down. All right, so think of your shins like windshield wipers here, just switching from side to side. You can use fingertips to prop yourself up if we're getting used to the movement. All right, so here we're just working side to side. It's more of like a stretching minute than a working minute. All right, and finally we'll go under over. So we're gonna have to break out your pretend hurdles. Right, so we face sideways, we step up and over the first hurdle, or like I'll say, like stepping into the bathtub, and then we step back, slide under that hurdle. Okay, we'll go one direction for 30 seconds, stepping over, sliding under, then we'll switch and go the other way. Okay, so the order is under over, we'll start with that, then that seated get up, then the crawl, then the 90-90 hip switch. Okay, so we got 12 minutes to work. We're going to do 3 times through, 4 exercises, 1 minute each. All right, so let's start off with the under over. So we should all be standing up. We're going to start in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So standing up nice and tall. The goal here would be to go nice and slow, control the whole movement, so that if somebody asks you to stop and go back, you'd be able to stop and go back the other way. Then we slide under. In 5 seconds, we're going to switch the direction that we're going. And let's switch. So now we step over the other way, slide back under. Ten seconds left. Next one we're going to do is that seated get up. 2, 1, and good. So we can actually start from the top. We'll just take a knee, turn that knee. We fold ourselves down to the floor. We're going to switch sides, rolling up and forward, and we stand all the way up. Just alternating as you go. Working side to side. If you're feeling any stress or tension in your knees with this one, just use those fingertips. Get a little bit of help from your hands goes a long way. 5 seconds. We're going to stay down for the crawl. In 2, 1, here we go. Just moving around, trying to keep that back nice and flat. Thinking about if you had a dinner plate right in the middle of your back, you wouldn't want to spill the food. So moving nice and smooth and slow. You can move forward, you can move backwards, you can move sideways. Halfway there, 30 seconds to go. Ten seconds. We're going to be on the ground for the next one. All right, 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So we're just moving from side to side in that 90-90 position. Sometimes it's called a side sit because you're kind of sitting off to the side of your feet, but we're just switching side to side. If you feel like you sort of grooved the movement with your hands on the ground, go ahead and try it hands-free. Should be able to keep your feet right where they are and just flip those knees side to side. 20 seconds left. Wrapping up round one here. All right, we're going back up in 3 seconds. We've got under over. Ready? And here we go. Okay, think of this as less like work and more like a mobility drill. So as you bring that knee up, your upper body shouldn't be affected. Right? We don't want your upper body to come down to meet your knee. Let's go ahead and switch directions. Right, we want that knee to stay tall, or your upper body to stay tall. As you bring that knee up, we should be able to bring your knee up higher than your waistband as you step over. Okay, without crunching down with your upper body. All right, going to the get up. So let's go ahead and head to the floor. Here we go. You can take that step back, hold your leg behind you, and have a seat. Halfway there. Remember, on these primal days, it's more about quality than quantity. We had our quantity day yesterday. 15 seconds. A little bit of stress on those tissues is okay. Okay, so that's sort of why we get into these goofy positions. Okay, so we can get into some stretches that we haven't done for a while. All right, let's go crawl. Just flipping over. This one's a little bit more about work. Get a little bit of mobility in your toes and your wrists with this, but for the most part, we're looking at overall core strength. Ten seconds left. All right, 2, 1. Then we put our butt on the floor and we're just folding side to side. Remember, once you get good at it, start taking a little bit of pressure off of your fingertips. Sitting up as tall as you can as you do it. 25 seconds left. You can take a pause at each side. Try to get both of those cheeks to the floor. 10 seconds. You might find this improving or getting easier as we go along. All right, last one. Hop up, under, over. Stepping up and over. And slide underneath. But yeah, as you go through the circuit, you might find that you're better at it even by the end of the circuit than you were at the beginning. Right, that's sort of the whole goal of this, is to get you into some ranges of motion or some movements that haven't been done for a while. Let's switch directions. $15 left. Okay, working into the get up. 2, 1. Here we go. Everybody's going to have a way that works for them here. You can also try sort of getting that foot nice and close. So as you go down, you almost have the help from your foot, from the leg that's flat on, or the foot that's flat on the floor, to help out with the weight as you go down. Like I said, everybody's going to have something that works for them. 10 seconds left. Moving into the crawl. In 3, 2, 1. Last crawl. Here we go. Halfway there, 30 seconds left. Always trying to keep those hands under your chest. And we're moving opposites at the same time. So if my left foot is moving forward, my right hand should be moving forward. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And we'll have a seat on the floor. Flipping those hips side to side. One last stretch here to finish up. Like I say, take a little pause. See if you can get both cheeks to the ground or both butt bones to the ground. Thirty seconds left. With stuff like this, it's good to make it easy first, right? So using that help from your hands. Because if you're always straining or struggling through it, your body won't give you that range of motion. But if you get used to it, 3 seconds, 2, 1, and relax. But yeah, if you get used to it, if you kind of introduce your body to the movement first, then your brain will be a little more likely to let you go through it because it feels like it's a safe movement for you. Okay. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining. I am out tomorrow, so I don't know who has tomorrow morning circuit, but probably Jacinta. So she'll take good care of you, but hope you guys had a great week.
Have a great weekend if I don't see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, safe you too, Brian. Thank you.
Got
Thank
it. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.